The solution to crime has always been highly debated in our society, as appropriate sentencing lengths, parole restrictions, and the death penalty are topics that always start intense conversations. In some countries, like Finland for example, they believe in rehabilitation, as their justice system has been criticized by multiple other countries for its rather gentle approach to criminals. One of the worst examples of this was Esa Akerlund, a man who randomly decided to shoot into a car with 5 people in it in 2010, as one of the occupants was a pregnant woman. 3 people died at the scene, and when Esa was arrested, he was charged with 3 murders and sentenced to 15 years. The even more insane part of the story is that he had already killed before, having a previous life sentence commuted. Welcome to History's Biggest Villains. Esa Akerlund was born on July 5, 1969 in Porvoo, Finland. There's really no information on his upbringing, so I'll start with his first foray into criminality. In October 1993, Esa was eating at the Manor, a restaurant in Escola. An argument broke out and then a fight ensued. Esa grabbed a knife and joined the scuffle, as employees tried to intervene, but they were threatened. 28-year-old Veikko Nurmi, an off-duty security guard who worked at the restaurant, saw the ruckus and rushed to the scene, but he was stabbed twice in the back and killed. Esa fled the restaurant and threw the knife away, but someone found it and turned it into the police. Forensic tests determined that the blood on the knife belonged to Nurmi, and the knife did indeed belong to Esa. When he was arrested, he admitted that the knife was his and that he had it on his person during the fight, but he denied committing the murder. The police didn't have any solid evidence or concrete witness testimony, but Esa was brought to trial and convicted of murder, receiving a sentence of 8.5 years. He appealed the sentence, being represented by well-known lawyer Heikki Salo. The defense brought multiple witnesses to the appellate hearing, and nobody testified against him. The Court of Appeals ruled that Nurmi was killed with Esa's knife, but he wasn't the murderer, so he was acquitted and the murder charge was dismissed in October 1994, only a year after the incident. Esa's violent ways continued after his release, as he had begun to stalk his ex-wife. They had been divorced ever since she fled from his constant abuse. After the courts gave her custody of their 2-year-old son, Esa became enraged, tracking her down to her home in Pernia. He broke in during the night, creeping into her bedroom, where he started beating her. He then pulled out his Smith & Wesson semi-automatic pistol and shot her. After hearing this, the ex-wife's brother barged into the room and shot at Esa, but he barely missed. Esa then shot him and his girlfriend before fleeing the scene, but both would survive. He was arrested shortly afterward, being charged with the murder of his ex-wife, along with the attempted murders of her brother and his girlfriend. Esa claimed to have shot the 2 survivors in self-defense, but the courts didn't believe him, and he received a life sentence, as this decision was upheld a year later after an appeal. On December 1, 2009, following another appeal, Esa's life sentence was commuted and he was released from prison with time served. On July 5, 2010, Esa and a friend were partying to celebrate his 41st birthday. In the early morning hours, the 2 men went to a McDonald's in Porvoo, heading to the drive-thru area of the restaurant. Another car, occupied by 4 men and a pregnant woman, were in front of them. For an unknown reason, an argument broke out between the 2 parties, and Esa got out of the car, pulled out a revolver, and shot one of the passengers in the chest, killing him instantly. When 2 other passengers tried to help their dying friend, Esa shot both of them in the face, killing them as well. The pregnant woman and her boyfriend were able to escape, but Esa and his accomplice tried to flee the scene, but they were apprehended just 10 minutes later. While the 2 men were in custody, the police investigated how a convicted murderer obtained a firearm, but they determined that the 9mm Smith & Wesson revolver was illegally sold to him in May. In October 2010, Esa was put on trial, where he said he didn't remember the events clearly due to the combined effects of alcohol and drugs. Right, sure. But the mental examination proved that he acted with full understanding, so the intoxication didn't remove his criminal liability. He addressed the victims' families, saying, "I'm sorry about the whole thing, from the bottom of my heart." After 2 years, he was found guilty of 3 murders and a firearms offense, being sentenced to 15 years, the maximum term under Finnish law for a fixed-term prison sentence. The CCTV footage of the shooting was ordered to be sealed for 25 years at the request of family members. Esa audaciously claimed that his sentence was too long, filing an appeal with the appellate court, but it was denied. He was categorized as a dangerous inmate, but this didn't change anything about his punishment, as he was released in July 2025 after serving his full sentence, but no reliable information has been published about him since his release. Wow, man. The Finnish criminal justice system. a guy who has killed 4 people, possibly a 5th, and has attempted to murder 2 others, essentially 4 others, considering the ex-wife's brother and his girlfriend, and the 2 other people in the car at the McDonald's whom he didn't shoot or at least didn't hit with the bullets. So you got a guy who's possibly killed 5 people and he's just free. The fact that you commute this guy from a life sentence and less than 7 months later, he shoots 3 more people. You want to rehabilitate these criminals, but it's like, after you've killed a couple people, there's really no coming back from that. Like, I don't really think there's a way you can just magically reintegrate into society after you've just killed people and you don't really feel a way about it. I have another case coming up in Finland. Stay tuned for that one. If you would like to enjoy, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Turn on my post notifications if you already. Thank you. Please be safe. I'm out. Peace.